So today, Archie Sonic Digest podcast released a new podcast episode where they were talking about several issues from the main Archie Sonic book, Sonic Universe, and all that. But, out of curiosity, I went back and listened to some of the others just briefly. And of course, they put clips up, on-camera clips of their podcast of, certain moments in the comics they would read off. They'd actually read off the book. They would read the story and everything and then kind of talk about it a little bit. And in one of the previous clips from one of the previous podcasts, they talked about, Sally, of course, getting her memories back along with Amy thanks to Nicole. And how Sally was just like traumatized and everything. And they even mentioned how Bunny basically tries to talk her out of it. Like, it's a very jarring experience. Even Sonic tries to talk her out of it, or at least they try in their own way to say, hey, you got to be prepared for this because this is going to blow your mind. Because as we see in a lot of the issues, prior to this final issue of the post-soft reboot, if you will, or post-soft reboot, whatever you want to call it, everybody has a giant experience. They get the memories of the previous world. They're like, oh my God, what is this? And then the reaction is just like, it's very priceless in a way to where it's like, now all of a sudden of being flooded with all these memories of things that happened, that when this Genesis wave got messed up, thanks to Eggman interfering with Sonic, these memories were basically scrambled. In other words, they were like locked away, in the vault of their minds, never to be, opened again unless, they had the key. And as I've mentioned on many occasions, Nicole was the Deus Ex Machina key to this happening, or to those vaults being unlocked in their minds, and that's what occurred. And the question everybody always has, since that moment, and even now, especially listening to the clip that, they put up a couple months ago, is out of all the memories being restored, should they have restored Sally's? Should they have restored Sally's memories? And that's a good question, because we see everybody having these, memories restored to them of the previous life, and the most shocking and emotional one outside of Sally's is Bunny's. We see Bunny remembering everything she did, everything that happened, her breaking down and everything. So, the question is, would we want to see Sally go through something similar, if not worse? If her memories were restored, would we want to see that? And honestly, no, you don't want to see Sally have to relive that. Heck, we as fans honestly don't want to relive that, let's be honest. But, should her memories been restored is the question. And I think with Sally, honestly, you could have had her memories restored, but not do it in a way that, uses Nicole as the key. Like, you can have Nicole restore Amy's memories, and that's fine because, she obviously only remembers like 2-3 key moments in her previous life, right? So with Sally, I think if you want to regain her memories, or have her regain memories of the previous world, have her do it gradually. Like, when she encounters something, it triggers a memory. And she encounters something else, it triggers another memory, and so on and so forth. And you make that part of the story arc along with the Werehog situation. And honestly, that makes things more interesting, because when it's all said and done, you can maybe have a moment, with Sally and Sonic both discussing, why they're acting so strangely, what's going on. And even have Sally confess that over time, when she's encountered certain things, memories of a previous life start to show up. And now she's gotten to the point that she has fully remembered, another life in another world. And you can have Sonic even confirm that, it wasn't just another life in another world. That was your life until Eggman screwed it up. Or something like that. You could just have them have a very potent moment between the two where, like I said, she can, acknowledge to Sonic and then later on to her friends that her memories have been restored of the previous world, and now it makes it more vitally important for them not only to restore the world and stop Eggman from unleashing this dark Gaia monster, if you will, but also, they need to stop Eggman permanently. Like now, storyline-wise, you could have her make it her sole mission, along with the friends, that stopping Eggman, unleashing Dark Gaia is one step, but the next step is stopping him permanently because of what he did. And again, I think that would have been a great direction to go in, because you still gradually restore her memories as they previously were, just like you did in the final issue of, the 4-part reboot, but you do it in a way to where, like I said, she encounters all these things, and over time, memories start to flood back to where she realizes, she had another life. She had another life in another world. And then she gets that confirmation from Sonic, maybe Nicole, that yes, this previous life from this previous world was real, and that it was all, and that basically the reason things changed, that in the world, in the state that it's in, is because Eggman didn't let me. You could have Sonic tell her this, even in Werehog form, or in Werehog form, I should say. You could have Sonic tell her that it's in this state because Eggman would not let me finish reconstituting the world as it was. So you could have gone with something like that. And to me, it would have made things just as interesting if you would have held off on it and just gradually let her memories be regained over time, in my opinion. But, that's just me. That's just me. I'm not saying that the direction they went with wasn't good. It was, because we still saw her in the following issues, or at least in the following issue or something, still kind of regretting what she did and having to be talked down by Nicole, that's saying, hey, look, that was a previous life. That's the past. This is now. You need to focus. We need the old Sally, the one that inspired Lupe, Dulcie, and others to be leaders, which is enough to get Sally out of her funk. So again, I'm not against the way they did it, but I think, with Sally, she would have been more of an exception of let it gradually happen so that you get to a moment where both her and Sonic can have that conversation and acknowledge, not only does she have her memories back because of everything she's encountered, but now they have to make it the mission to not only, but it now makes the mission, I should say, to save the world against Eggman, unleashing Dark Gaia, even more important, as well as afterwards they need to finally end the war with Eggman, to try to prevent him pulling another stunt like what he did. And as I've said before, the possibilities for the story, in my opinion, are endless. They are absolutely endless, in my opinion, because you could have easily, in my opinion, built it up to the point that after they save the world from Dark Gaia and everything, and go on their solo missions, you could have done that, but then you could have built to the final encounter, which who knows when that would have been, maybe 325, 350, who knows, had the comic stayed around for that long. You could have built it up to where when they finally encounter Eggman, you could have had Sally and Sonic, go up against him alone. Like Sonic wants to do it alone, but Sally's like, no, we all do it together. And basically her and the team, you have him take down his forces and then encounter him, basically beat him down, basically take down all his mechanical vehicles he tried to use. Till finally it's like, they have him cornered, have him cornered, basically getting him ready to surrender. and you didn't have, and then honestly, you could have Sally, like they could come up with a plan to where the idea is have Sally act like she's going to lose control and basically kill him until he finally confesses why he did what he did. You know, why he didn't let Sonic restore the world as was, and so on and so forth. Or why he's constantly not just accepting that he'll never win. And in comedic, and honestly, in my opinion, in traditional comedic Sonic Gold, you could have Eggman just, you know, begging for his life, knowing there's no other resort. You could have him just come out and say, I just wanted to be recognized as the world's greatest scientist. And that's it. And you kind of end the war sort of on a funny note, on basically a, well, not just a funny note, but a very, like, seriously, that's why you put everybody through the hell that you did, just because you wanted recognition? You know, you could do that, and it would stay true to what made the comic what it was at the beginning, because you're basically ending this era in a similar manner. Now, not saying that's entirely true and everything, but, you know, it's, well, what I'm trying to say is I'm not saying that's entirely true of maybe what Ian was going to do, but to me it's something that would have really made, you know, a lot of sense, in my opinion, to do something like that. But yeah, you know, going back to the topic though, should her memories been restored the way they were? Again, I'm not saying that they didn't do a good job in doing it and didn't, you know, kind of continue off of it in the following issue. But I think she's the kind that over time you could have made the exception to where, you know, issue after issue, arc after arc in this reboot, her memories get restored with, you know, different encounters that she faces. And then finally you have that moment of clarity for her where she remembers everything, talks with Sonic, talks with the team, it tells them what, you know, tells them this, acknowledges it, and goes from there. Because not only does it make the mission to save the world from Eggman unleashing Dark Gaia more important, but it also, and on top of that, makes the mission to stop Eggman once and for all even so more important than anything, because you could have had Sally be like, yeah, we don't need him pulling another stunt like what he did again with the Genesis Wave. So to me, I'm cool with the way they did it. Not saying, you know, I'm against it, even though I kind of called it from the beginning that Nicole was going to be the key to everybody's memories being restored. So I'm not against it, but I think the other alternative, in my opinion, would have been just as good, maybe a little bit better from a storytelling perspective, because you would have your two prominent characters that have always been connected to each other, going through different situations, but coming together with the common goal of Eggman's the reason this happened, we have to stop him from unleashing Dark Gaia, and then we finally have to put a stop to him once and for all. To me, from a story perspective, it would have worked, honestly. But that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below and in the live chat during the premiere. Like the video, super chat, super stickers are open in the live chat, super thanks afterwards. You can find me at BW Roses Discussions, all your favorite audio podcast locations except for Pandora. Also check me out at VENMO at BW Roses for content you can't get anywhere else. Patreon.com/BW Roses, $1, $3 tier. Venmo at Brian-Woman-2 and a Cash App at BW Roses 98 and at my Teespring store as well. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are. How do you feel about this? Do you think I'm just rambling for no reason? Or do you think maybe I have a bit of a genuine point that perhaps if they would have gone the other way, it would have made things just as interesting, because now you have not just one problem going on with Sonic, but you have two going on, one with Sonic and one with Sally. Let me know down below and in the live chat. And until then, I am out.